Okay, so how many times have you opened your AI coding tool and typed something like, write me test cases for this feature, or look at this file and find the bugs? Like every single day, right? You're writing the same instructions over and over again. And honestly, that's kind of exhausting. But here's the thing. There's a feature in Cloud Code called skills files. And what that means is you can write your instructions once, save them as a file, and then run them with a single command whenever you want. You're basically building your own little QA toolkit that lives right in your project. And the cool thing is, this isn't just something Claude Code offers. Any AI coding agent that supports custom commands can do this. Cursor and Windsurf also do it. So even if you switch tools down the road, the idea is the same. In this video, I'm going to show you what skills files actually are, how to build them from scratch, and then we're going to make 3 real QA ones together. We'll make a code explainer, a manual test generator, and a Playwright UI test generator. So by the end of this, you're going to have actual files you can drop into your own project today. Let's do this. Okay, so a skills file is really just a text file. That's it. It's a markdown file. Markdown is basically plain text with some simple formatting, and it contains instructions for your AI agent. So instead of typing, hey, write me test cases for this feature, make sure to cover edge cases, use consistent format, and include both positive and negative scenarios. Every single time you prompt, you can write that once in a file, save it, and just run a command. That's all it is. In Claude Code, skills files live in a folder called .claude/commands. The dot at the front means it's a hidden folder. Don't worry about that. It just means your file manager won't show it by default. Each skill has its own .md file, and the file name becomes the command. So a file called generate-test-cases.md becomes / generate-test-cases inside of Claude Code. That's it. And here's the thing. You can always have user-level skills. Those live at your home folder at .claude/commands. What that means is those commands are available in every single project on your machine, not just one. So if you build a really good bug report formatter, you can use it everywhere. All right, so why does this matter for QA specifically? So here's the thing about QA work. A lot of it is repetitive. You write the same kind of test. You look at the same kind of bugs. You write bug reports in the same format every time. And that's actually perfect for skills files because repetitive tasks are exactly what these are built for. Like, imagine your whole team is using the same AI tool. Instead of everyone writing their own prompts and getting slightly different results, you drop a skills folder into the repo. Everyone has the same commands, and your QA process is actually consistent, right? That's really powerful. And okay, I promised I'd talk about the other tools. So in Cursor, custom AI commands work through something called rules and /commands. In Windsurf, it's similar. GitHub Copilot has custom instructions. The exact setup is a little bit different in each tool, but the concept is the same. Write the instructions once, run them over and over. So everything you learn here applies. All right, so you know what these are and why they matter. Let me show you how to actually build them. Okay, so I've got a project open here. It's a plant store e-commerce app. React on the front end, Node and Express on the back end. SQLite for the database. A real full stack app. I have it running locally, and this is what it looks like when it's running. And you can see I've got Claude Code running on the right here. The first thing we're going to need to do is set up the folder. So at the root of this directory, I'll create a new folder, and the folder is going to be .claude. Inside of that folder, I'll create another folder. This one is going to be called commands. So your folder structure should look like this. The root of your project, followed by .claude, and inside of there, commands. Once you have this, you're ready to build your first skill. So the first skill I want to build is a code explainer. You point it at a file or a function, and it breaks down exactly what the code does in plain language. This is huge for onboarding, for understanding inherited code, or just when you're reviewing a PR and you want to actually understand what you're looking at before you start testing it. Inside of the commands folder, I'm going to create a new file. I'll call this explain-code.md. I pasted in some text, so I said explain this code. This is in Markdown, like I said, so this hash in front of this line means that this is a H1 heading, a shortcut to actually view inside of Visual Studio Code. What the Markdown file is going to look like when it's fully rendered is you can do Command-Shift-V or Control-Shift-V, and it should give you a view like this. So now you can see the formatted version. So you can see explain this code is in H1. You can see we have some bolded text here. And this is a good way for you to verify that your formatting looks good. So that way when you upload it to GitHub, when somebody opens your file, you'll know what it's going to look like when it renders. All right, let's quickly go through this. Look at the file or function the user provides. Explain what it does in a plain language. Assume the reader understands basic programming but is not familiar with the specific codebase. Structure your explanation like this. What it does. 1 or 2 sentences, the big picture summary. How it works. Walk through the logic step by step. Keep each step to 1 sentence. Focus on what and why and not just the syntax. Inputs and outputs. What goes in, what comes out. If it talks to a database or an API or any other service, say so. Explain what could go wrong, any obvious failure points, edge cases, or assumptions baked into the code that a tester should know about. Keep everything in plain English, no jargon. If you have to use a technical term, explain it in one sentence. Okay, that's the first skill. Just instructions, written in plain language. Now let me show you what it does. So I've gone into my file system and I've gone into the client, source, context, and I'm going to point it at this cart context.js file. But I don't know what this file does, but I'll use it for the example so that way we can get a quick explanation of what it's used for. Inside of Claude, let's type in /, and then we'll have to put in the name of the skill that we just created. So I'm going to type in explain-code. So if you don't see the autocomplete automatically showing your new skill file, you can actually close out of Visual Studio Code and reopen it. And let's try again. So I'll do / explain. And now you can see in our / commands, explain code is there now. If you select it without putting any text after it, it's going to automatically just run it. And that's not what we want. You can see that Claude says, please share the file or function you'd like me to explain, and I'll break it down for you. So I'll just create a new session. Let's do this again. / explain code. When I have it focused here, I can hit the tab key and it'll fill in like this. And then I can give it the context of the file. The file that I want to add is cart context. So I can type in @cart, and then you should see cart context is here. Make sure it's the correct one by looking at the file breadcrumbs, select that, and then now run it. Okay, it looks like Claude is done. You can see that it broke it down and it's using the sections that we asked it to do. So here's what it does. This file sets up a global shopping cart system for a React app, letting any component anywhere in the app read or modify the cart without passing data through the props. How it works: a context is created. On first load, it reads any previously saved cart from local storage. Whenever the cart changes, it automatically saves the new state back to local storage. It exposes 6 cart operations, and the cart provider wraps the app and makes the cart available everywhere. Here are the inputs and outputs: add to cart, remove from cart, update quantity, update cart quantities, and get total price and get total items. And the section for what could go wrong, it says stale callback and add to cart. The onSuccess callback is called inside the set cart items updater function, which runs asynchronously. This is technically fine, but unusual. If onSuccess triggers another state update, it could cause unexpected re-render ordering. All right, I want to pause real quick and make you understand that as a QA, this is super important. You understand what this file does, you understand what the ins and outs are, and now it's calling out potential things that you need to test for, because it could cause bugs in your application. Having this is like having a cheat code into the working application code. Because if you ask the developer, they're probably not going to give you all of these details. They're going to say it does X, Y, and Z, and you should test for X, Y, and Z. But they're most likely not going to point out any potential problems or edge cases. So this is gold right here. And this is generally one of my favorite uses for Claude Code. You get a new feature assigned, you run this before you write a single test, and now you actually understand what you're testing, including the stuff that could go sideways. Okay, let's build the next one. So inside of our commands, let's create a new file again. This one I'm going to call manualtestcases.md. And here's the content for this one. Look at the file or feature description the user provides. Write a complete set of manual test cases covering happy path, the normal expected flow, edge cases, unusual inputs, empty values, and boundary conditions, negative test cases, invalid inputs, missing data, unauthorized actions, and error states, what happens when something fails. Format each test case like this: test case ID, title, preconditions, and steps. Include an expected result and priority, and keep the language simple. Write the steps so that anyone on the team can run them without needing to ask questions. Do not skip steps that seem obvious. Be explicit. Okay, let's test this one out. Inside of our new Claude Code chat, let's do / manual-test-cases. So remember, VS Code sometimes needs you to restart VS Code in order for it to recognize the Claude command, or you can just type it in manually like this. And this time I'm going to use a different file. So inside of client source, I'm going to go to component, and I'm going to do this checkout.js file here. So let's give this to the context. So @checkout, and it's this one right here, checkout.js. Go ahead and send this. Okay, it looks like it's done. It's created quite a few things here. So you can see it's created 11 test cases. Let's scroll all the way up to the top. All right, so it gave us a nicely formatted output here. It shows test case ID 1. Here's a successful test case. Here's some empty cart tests. So here's one here and another one here. And these look pretty good, to be honest. Of course, you're going to want to double check to make sure that this follows the acceptance criteria and this is actually testing what you want it to test. But giving it the context of the actual code inside the repo, this is going to give you a better list of tests than just the acceptance criteria alone, because it's looking at the actual source code. So one problem with this one right now is that the output of this is just inside of Claude Code. So I would have to copy this individually, one by one, and paste this into my test case repository. So let's update the skill a bit. And I added one simple line here. I said, ask about output, either CSV file or TXT file. I'll go ahead and save this. And what I'm going to do is actually, I'm just going to rerun this whole prompt again. So I'll copy this. I'll create a new chat. And let's go ahead and send this now. All right, it's all done. And this time after the output, it says, would you like these saved as a CSV or a TXT file? So I'll choose CSV. Okay, and this time you can see that in the root of our directory, it's created a checkout_testcases.csv file here. And if you look, you can see there are now 13 rows. So that means there's 12 test cases. There are column headings here, and each of our test case data is right here. What you would want to do for your specific test case repository. So if you're using X-Ray or TestRail, you'd want to figure out what actual column headings that you would need in order to properly import this in. Claude is just making assumptions right now based on what the columns are called because we didn't tell it what headings it actually needs. Once you figure that out, you should go back into your skill file and give it the proper headings and format for your specific test case repository. And then every time that Claude generates these files for you, you can just take the file, drag it into your test case repository, and it'll quickly upload to wherever you need it to upload to. No copy pasting every single test case. All right, let's do one more example here. So inside of commands, let's create one more new file. This time I'm going to call this playwright-test.md. So this skill we're going to use to generate Playwright tests for our front-end application. And here's what the skill says. It says generate Playwright tests, look at the file, feature description, or the URL the user provides. Write the Playwright test in TypeScript using the page object model pattern. Structure the output like this. 1. A page object class that models the UI being tested. Include locators for every element and methods for common actions. 2. A test file at playwright/test that covers happy path, validation errors, edge cases, and error states. Use data-test ID attributes for locators when available. Fall back to role-based locators before using CSS selectors. Add a short comment above each test explaining what it covers and why it matters. Keep test names descriptive. They should read like a sentence. At the end, list any locators or test IDs that need to be added to the front-end code before these tests will pass. Before I actually start using this one, I want to set up my project so that it actually can run Playwright tests, because the skill in itself is just going to write tests, but you won't be able to actually run them. So I'm going to go into Claude and say, set up my project to be able to run Playwright test. All right, it looks like it's done here, and let's take a look at what it changed. You can see there's a Playwright config.ts file now. Inside of our package.json file, at Playwright test is now being installed. There's now a test folder with some sample files. So there's a pages folder and a smoke.spec.ts file. If you open this file, you can see there's a simple test case here. Now that we have Playwright set up on our machine, let's go ahead and create a new prompt and let's do our / command. So /playwright-test. We'll need a file for it to test. So we'll go to client, source, components, and this time we'll do login. So we'll add that to the context. So at login, we'll want this login.js file here and go ahead and run this. All right, it looks like it's all done. Let's scroll down and find out what it created. So we've created a login.spec.ts file here. And inside of pages, you can see there's base page.ts and loginpage.ts. So it's created everything that we've asked for. Inside of the pages file, you can see it's created several locators. Here's the email input, password input, submit button, error message, and register link. And inside the spec file, you can see there's several tests here. So here's the success, here's some button state, and here's some error state test, and some more tests for things like empty password field and malformed email. So in this case, let's actually run the test. Inside of the package.json file, you can see that Claude actually created a new script for me, and it's called test e2e:UI. So this will open up Playwright in the interactive UI mode. To run that inside of my terminal, I'll do the command npm run test e2e:UI. Playwright should open up this view here, and you can see that we have loginspec.ts here and login page with all of our test cases. Let's go ahead and run this and see if these actually work. Okay, it looks like we have mostly successful tests. So you can see on the first one, here's our login test. You can see it's going through and actually logging in. On the second one, we have a failed test. So this button is expected to be disabled, but I guess it's not working for some reason. So this is something we would need to investigate and determine if we need to open a bug. And the same thing for this other test here. There's some sort of error, and you can see that it's displaying this weird error message here. So we'd need to investigate that one also. But you can see that within seconds, it was able to analyze the code base, create working tests, and you're able to run them in seconds. Okay, so let's wrap this up. Here's what you actually did today. You learned what skills files are. Just mark down files with instructions for your AI agent. You set up the Claude commands folder, and you built 3 real QA skills: a code explainer, a manual test case generator, and a Playwright UI test generator. And look, these 3 are just a starting point. You know what else you can build? A check accessibility skill that goes through your UI code looking for accessibility issues, a write regression checklist skill that takes a feature and spits out a checklist for regression testing, an API test plan skill for building test plans around API endpoints, and a review test coverage skill that looks at a file and tells you what's not being tested. The list goes on. And hey, if this helped you out, subscribe. I've got more coming on AI tools for QA. test automation, and other stuff you can actually use at work. Drop your questions in the comments. I read all of them. All right, that's it. Go build something. See you later.